Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that feels super modern, but its roots go way, way back. I'm talking about virtual reality. And believe it or not, this idea has been around for a lot longer than you probably think.
You know, for most of human history, how we deal with images has been pretty simple, right? We look at them. Think about it. A painting, a photo, a movie on a screen, they're all things we look at from the outside.
But lately, technology has just completely flipped that on its head. That whole relationship is changing. The screen isn't just a window we're peering through anymore.
With all these incredible advances, digital synthesis, real-time interaction, those crazy immersive headsets, we're not just watching anymore. We can actually become participants. We're inside the frame.
And that is what we call virtual reality. But here's the kicker. It's not just about changing how we see images. It's changing what an image even is.
All right, so let's really dig into this. Let's unpack just how massive this shift is. Because what we're talking about here is a total revolution. It's rewiring our most basic ideas about what an image can be.
Okay, so VR brings four huge fundamental changes to the whole concept of the image. First off, images can now be created from pure math. They don't have to be captured from the real world. Second, the image and its digital model are basically made of the same stuff. Third, and this is the big one, we're not standing in front of the image anymore. We are inside it. And finally, a virtual image can actually represent a real live presence, connecting people in a way that feels totally real.
But here's where it gets really wild. What if I told you this whole revolutionary idea isn't new at all? Yeah, the tech is brand new, but the core concept, this idea that our reality is kind of constructed, that it's mediated, that was predicted long before anyone had even dreamed of a computer. Get this, way back in 1868, that's over 150 years ago, an American philosopher named Charles Sanders Peirce said something truly mind-blowing. He basically claimed that the meaning of a thought is altogether something virtual. He was saying that our thoughts about reality are all in a way virtual. They're just representations, not the real thing. So, how on earth did he come up with that back then? Well, to get it, we've got to dive into his incredible field of study. Because it turns out, it's pretty much the intellectual blueprint for the virtual worlds we're all so excited about today.
Okay, so Peirce had this big idea. He wanted to create a formal science of how signs work. He called it semiotics. And he wasn't just talking about words on a page. Nope. He was interested in everything that carries meaning. You know, from a medical symptom to a painting, it's all about how meaning gets communicated.
And here's his key insight, it's really important. For Peirce, a sign isn't just a simple link between, say, a word and what it means. It's a three-part deal, a triad. You got the sign itself, the form it takes, like the word fire. Then you have the object, the actual, hot, burning thing. But then, and this is the game changer, you have the interpretant. That's the idea of fire that pops into your head. Without that mental concept, the word fire is just noise. All right, so if everything's a sign, how do we make sense of them all? Well, Peirce gave us a toolkit. He broke it all down into three main categories, based entirely on how the sign connects to the thing it represents. Let's jump in. First up, we've got the icon. This is the easiest one to get. An icon is a sign that it looks like the thing it's representing. It works through resemblance. And you see these everywhere. A photograph of a person, that's an icon. A map of a city, that's an icon. Even that little folder icon on your computer, it's designed to look like a real-world paper folder. The key thing here is always that physical similarity.
Okay, next up is type 2, the index. Now, an index is different. It doesn't look like its object. Instead, it points to it because of some direct physical connection. Think of it like a piece of evidence.
Yeah, just think about it. Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? The smoke is an index of the fire. A footprint in the sand, that's an index that a person was just there. Even a loading bar on your screen is an index. It tells you a process is actually happening. One thing is direct proof of the other.
And that brings us to the third type, the symbol. With a symbol, the relationship between the sign and its object is totally, it's arbitrary. There's no natural connection at all. It only works because we, as a culture, have all just kind of agreed that it does.
There's absolutely no reason the letter A has to look like that, right? Or why a red light means stop and not go. These meanings are completely made up. They're conventional. We have to learn them. But they're incredibly powerful because we all share that same understanding.
So, there you have it.
icons, indexes, and symbols. A toolkit from the 1800s. And what is just so incredible is that this old philosophical framework, it's the actual blueprint for the digital virtual worlds that we spend our time in every single day.
And this is where it all clicks into place. Work by Professor Yvonne Rogers shows this perfect parallel. Think about your phone, the camera app icon. That's an icon, it looks like a camera. A little padlock icon, that's an index, it points to the idea of security. And the power button symbol? That's a pure symbol. It's just an arbitrary shape we've all learned means on or off. See? Peirce's theory isn't just some dusty old philosophy, it's literally user interface design 101.
But this whole process of building worlds out of signs, it can go even further. It can get to a point where the signs we're using don't actually point to anything real anymore.
Another philosopher, Jean Baudrillard, really ran with this idea. He argued that signs go through 4 stages. Okay, first, a sign is a good copy of reality, like an accurate map. Then, stage 2, it starts to distort or mask reality. Stage 3, it masks the absence of a basic reality. So it's like a map of a place that was never there to begin with. And finally, stage 4, the sign becomes what he called a simulacrum. It has zero connection to reality. It only refers to other signs. The map is the territory now.
And that brings us right back to VR, where we kicked this whole thing off. We're so excited about being able to step inside the image to build these amazing worlds made entirely of signs. But Baudrillard's warning is kind of spooky, isn't it? It makes you wonder, what happens when the simulation starts to feel more real, more engaging than actual reality?
And really, that's the big idea I want to leave you with. From a philosopher in the 1800s to the VR headset sitting in your home right now, the core principle is exactly the same. Our entire experience of the world is built on signs. So, I guess the most important question we have to ask ourselves now is, if signs create our reality, who's designing yours?